Everybody, welcome to another episode of the Insurance Tech webinar series. We have Haley Tams here with us from, I always say this wrong, Prismal Media. Am I saying it right?
Plimsoll. Yes.
Plimsoll. See, I say it wrong every time. Even though we've been working together for like 2 years almost, I still can't pronounce the name of your company. Just add that to the list of things I suck at. So thank you for being here though. I'm so excited to talk about social media for insurance agents. This is obviously your wheelhouse. Haley has been taking care of our social media here at Accelerated Automation for, like I said, like almost 2 years now, if not longer. I don't know. I feel like it's flown by, and does a phenomenal job. It's been such an amazing journey working together and seeing like how things have changed, and the platforms aren't even the same today. Thank you so much for being willing to talk to our agents. I know there's going to be a ton of questions. I'll stop rambling. Tell us more about yourself and your company.
Okay, thanks, Mariah. Yeah, we have been working together a long time. It's been a lot of trial and error. You are one of the people that I learn and grow a lot, like the most from working with clients. So I really appreciate you. My name is Haley, everybody. Hello. I'm originally from Iowa. I live currently in Chicago. My company, Plimsoll Media, does marketing, social media content strategy for basically specifically insurance agencies and agents. Mariah's kind of one of the outliers where she's not really an insurance agent anymore, but we work with her and her company. I kind of got into the insurance side of marketing because my family had a family named agency my entire life, which was so awesome to see my grandfather working it, my dad working it. Ultimately, they ended up selling it, and now my dad works in insure tech. And when I went to college, I kind of pivoted. I knew I wasn't going to be a specific agent, but growing up working in his agency as like a secretary, I kind of had this semi background knowledge. And upon obtaining Plimsoll Media, I actually got to meet Bradley Flowers, who I met at a conference. He said, "Hey, I have this one-off agent marketing agency. Are you interested?" My degree at the time was based in journalism and marketing, and I jumped on the opportunity. He has given me so many great opportunities, connections. I believe that's how we also connected, is you listened to his podcast that I was able to be on. So yeah, since then, I've been trying to grow my business, try and work as hard as I can on and in my business, but it's been a journey, and that's kind of what led me into the insurance space because of my background knowledge. And it is just this great untapped market of people who don't really know what they're doing when it comes to social media. Some do, some don't, but I get the opportunity to work with both. So it's really fun and I love it. So I love to story tell. That's my goal.
Yeah, that's an amazing journey. And I feel like the people that serve agents the best come from the agency force, right? Like, because we understand what the agency operations are like, what agents deal with, what our customers are looking for. And so when you start with that foundation, like you did with your, dad's agency, you don't forget those experiences and you can relate to your customers so much more. And yeah, social media, I feel like in general, insurance agents, especially if you go back 5 years backwards, are mostly kind of disconnected from some of that, like tech forward type of environment, right? Insure tech in general, like your dad is in now, has blown up over the last 5 years. But prior to that, it was, pretty tiny and not a lot going on. And that also stems into social media. Most, myself as an agent as well, my social media was pretty sad in the beginning for an insurance agent because it wasn't how we really taught to get business, right? It was more referral partners, walk and knock, kind of old school cold calling, phone book type of deal. And obviously that it's a very different world now and when it comes to marketing. So it makes sense that so many of us were in the dark. And now we're having to like understand this and use it better. And the power behind social media, I mean, the number of people you can reach is amazing. So I know you wanted to talk a little bit about kind of like that really human first, like marketing strategy. I'm going to let you take it from here and talk about that and how that helps your clients.
Yeah, definitely. One of the big problems I face and the hardest sell when it comes to social media marketing when I talk to agents is, well, I'm not going to see the immediate ROI. I'm not going to go viral. I don't want to put myself on camera. there are all these roadblocks that I have to kind of talk them through and say, it's going to be okay. When you view media as a consumer, you either want it to do like engage you, entertain you, give you something back so that you watch it. And when I talk to agents who are like, well, I'm never going to put myself on camera, well, you've kind of already lost then, because when it comes to this like human first marketing approach, people are, everything is just overwhelmed. It's oversaturated. Social media is oversaturated with ads, and even your like favorite content creators are selling you something. Everything is a sell. If you cut out that kind of ad and you put yourself first and you show your audience the trust that they can have in you, you ultimately win. So, for example, it's like kind of building this niche community. And you've done a really good job at this, Mariah, with your Facebook groups and commenting back to people and kind of trying to corral the correct target audience, because we don't necessarily need to target everybody. If you're trying to appeal to the masses, you're never going to win people. And you can just see that within any industry ever. If you're trying to do it all at once, you're spreading yourself too thin and people won't like it anyway. It's not very true or authentic to you. So you have to kind of be the same person that you are to your clients in person that you're going to be on social media. And that's a way that you can reach them, where they can see and hear you and learn to trust you without you having to call them or email them or knock on their door. I one of the big things is like there are a lot of silent watchers, and I think we just had a discussion about this too, is people can see your stuff and never engage with it until they need you, until they remember that they've seen something from you, or there's this lady, I need to remember who that is, and like go back. And then you ultimately get to see that ROI later. So it's really hard to quantify it when, well, my post only got 500 views. Put those 500 people in a room. If they're the exact 500 people that you want to see your content, that's winning. So what if 50,000 people didn't see it? You might not get a single lead if your video goes viral for 50,000 people. But if 100 people saw it and were like, that made me think, I can trust that person, I know that they say what they're saying is true. I don't know how you phrase that, but like that is the real ROI on social media. And it's so vast, and you can really do as much as you can on social media. You can, I mean, it's absolutely insane. So my goal when I work with agents is to say, okay, we really need to hone in on what are your brand pillars going to be? What's your brand voice? Who are you going to be to these people? If you're like this in person, and I had just asked this of you recently, and I see this across the board too. It's like, I said, oh, it would be so fun if we could do some engaging like content. And I think you were like, Haley, you know that I'm not like that.
Yeah. So Haley has been asking me to do like these, like catchy, like little funny clip things. And I'm like, okay, that's so forced for me because it's not who I am, right? Like I'm not the trendy, boppy like person. And she was like, yeah, that's true. Like I got to stop asking you to do that, because brand is huge and who you are. One of the worst pieces of advice I actually got from another insurance agent back when I was an agent still, before I did any of this, was I've always been very authentically myself. And in my district, some people, and it's how it always is, right? You're some people's cup of tea and others you aren't. And that's okay. And that will be true regardless of what you do. But this agent had actually taken time to email me and said, hey, I think you should really dial back, blah, blah, blah. You shouldn't say these things. And you're kind of like ruffling feathers or whatever. And that was really the worst advice I ever got. And luckily I didn't listen to him, but because what makes me me, and just like insurance agents and everyone listening to this, what makes you you is unique. And that's what people will attach to and relate to. And it doesn't matter how vanilla you want to be. If you want to try to appeal to the masses, you're still going to have half the people hate you. It doesn't matter what you do. So just be yourself, because then the people you attract in will actually want to interact with you, right? And the ones that don't like you, fine. You're never going to win them over anyways. But that's something that I've learned in general with social media. And I got really comfortable with doing with your encouragement, is also like put out content that isn't maybe perfect or polished. Like I have a ton of videos that when they come up on my memories, I look back on and I'm like, what the hell was I thinking? And like I didn't have makeup on, or like I had, whatever, all these like funny little things, but it's who you are, right? You
Yeah.
might not be willing to be that vulnerable. That's fine, but it is who you are. And people do follow. The silent viewers, I have to say, I just recently, that really resonated with me, Haley, recently, because I'm not going to lie, there was a time where like I didn't really believe you, right? I was like, sure,
Totally fine.
5 people liked my post, Haley, and you're saying all these other people saw it. But recently, at my Facebook went into like a professional mode. I got like approved or upgraded or whatever, and now you actually can see how many people have viewed you, not interacted. So they didn't like or comment or share, but they viewed. So I'll have videos and posts like from the business page or my personal or whatever, and that'll be like 12,000 people viewed this. And I'm
Mhm.
like, what the hell? And there's like one like.
Yeah.
So
It
you
happens
guys,
on
it
my,
is
listen,
amazing. Go
yeah, it
ahead.
happens on my Instagram too. I think
Yeah.
I posted something, it was like, your profile's gotten 30,000 views in the last day. I'm going, well, nobody's liking my post. Hello. But I mean, it's just all about awareness. And when it comes
Yeah.
to being authentically yourself, like you said, kind of like no makeup, you look back and you're like, why did I post that? Not everything has to be this done up production that you're so polished, especially if you don't have anything on your page. Kind of the only resource and tool you have is to not have a huge production. I mean, you don't necessarily need the huge mic and the big lights and everything to
Like
get
that
the video. But here's the thing, is good lighting and good audio will always do better than
will
like
help.
terrible audio and horrible lighting.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily sharing everything about yourself or your personal life, because there are some boundaries that I'm like, I don't need people to, when it comes to like my family or my nephews or my, it's like I'm not sharing that side. What I am sharing are some of my like, oh, personal struggles, or here's what I've just overcome and learned. It doesn't have to be a client came in and yelled at my staff today and it was the worst thing ever. And this is what it did for, you could say, we had a problem today and it really reminded me of, why communication with your clients is key. Kind of you're tapering it down. You don't have to be super transparent on what goes on, but you can say, here's what happened, here's what I learned, here's why it matters. And
Yeah.
your audience will resonate with that in the same way. They'll still kind of feel that trust and feel your authenticity with you kind of holding some discretion a little.
Yeah.
If that's one of the things that you're like, I'm never putting myself on camera.
Well, and then the other thing that we had done, and you can, talk about this human experience, like it also doesn't all have to be just the agent, right? Like, can't they engage their staff or their customers?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when it is kind of, you have a team of people that work with you. One of my clients specifically that's based out of the Chicago area, so I just get to see him a lot more. He has 2 offices. I've actually gotten to meet his team over like a happy hour one time, and I got introduced to all of them. And we do try and ask, like, hey, can we record also you talking about some client experiences and what you've learned working for him and how that's affected your relationships with clients and your relationships in the office. And if you're trying to sell your agency as a whole, it kind of is an all-encompassing media. I mean, it's great for all of the above. Like they get to meet your staff, they get to meet the person behind the scenes. And one of the specific things that I remember talking with you about too, when you were like, I'm just going to post on Facebook, whatever comes to front of mind, because people like to see that. Well, people like to see that owner, the person who is founded it, built it. They want to see you. I mean, that's just kind of, we've talked about this in depth a lot.
We
Like,
tried it. Like, so in my own company, we tried, I was like, I'm not going to be at all the face because this is definitely not what I thought would happen with my company and wasn't what I was after. So I actually started we pushed more content of our team, and the engagement was completely different. Like there was engagement, don't get me wrong. People want to see the people that are working for you, but with the owner absent total, like it had the opposite of effect that we were hoping for. So we had to kind of backpedal. So we did test that theory out a little bit.
Yeah, I know. That's one of our trial and errors. We kind of get to learn as we go and grow as we go. Um, but yeah, I always now I kind of carry that with me. I'm like, okay, we tried it. It works maybe for some, it works maybe not for some, especially if you are kind of that like family brand agency, you gotta put yourself first. And one of the questions I was really diving into, I got to speak at a conference in Palm Springs and we were talking about, I'm sitting with all these agents and talking to them about, well, they're all name brand agencies. They all kind of work for themselves. They have their own book of business and they've never put themselves in front of the camera. And I'm thinking that is perfect. I mean, start from the ground up, start literally anywhere. And I remember meeting with one guy and he's like, look I have all these videos. And I'm like, all of these videos are just text on videos and it's not showing any sort of human behind your brand and that is just a lost engagement, lost time that you're spending putting these posts together because people don't know what you look like, people don't know who you are, and you really have to meet these people where they're going to be, and that's on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. I mean, they say the internet is forever, and that's true. Put out something that you're proud of, put out education, put out engagement posts. I mean, like, hold on, I'm trying to think where I just lost my train of thought.
Yeah, you're good. I was going to say, just in general, you guys, I think that one of the things I've learned from a lot of the mentors I've worked with now over the last couple of years in the role we have is that insurance is a sales environment, and the agents that kill it are great at marketing. They're great, they're consistent, and they have marketing plans. I meet with 4 agents every single day minimum in calls that we talk about automation, and we have almost 1,000 clients that we've helped in the last 6 years. And when I will ask them questions about like, what is your marketing? Because we're talking about sales and their processes and their operations. And I ask them about their marketing efforts, like what they have in place that they consistently execute on. And most of them have nothing to say. We get referrals, we cross sell. Some people call in or walk in, they might buy a couple internet leads here and there, but there's no consistent marketing plan. So when Haley, you mentioned like your brand voice, that was one of the first things you had me do was I created a brand guide, right? That I had a contractor on Fiverr help me with it because I didn't know how to make one, but I made a brand guide of like, what is our message? What is our coloring and our logo and what's going to go out and what fonts and all of these things. So you have consistency. Like think about the biggest brands in the world, Pepsi, Starbucks, like whatever. Do you think that when they put a billboard out or a commercial, they're like, how much money did I make from that one commercial? No, they're doing marketing across all avenues so that you're immersed in Pepsi. Everyone knows what Pepsi is, but they're still immersing you in their brand. And that's where agents miss. Like they don't do that really immersive marketing. And that's what social media can do for you so much. And when you do it well, it's not a bunch of extra effort either. It really isn't. And then your phone is ringing and people can find you. Like if you can't hit your sales goals and you need more leads, think about how hard it is to find you. And that's what social media can really do for you.
And it's very evergreen.
Yes.
I mean, I remember I mean, this happens with every single one of my clients. It's happened with you, it's happened with many others where the video is from 2 years ago. And all of a sudden, it now has 5,000 more views. Wow. I mean, we didn't do anything to promote it, but now people are going out searching for it, or it's a really talked about subject and they're like, I wish I knew more. They Google it, you're the first video that pops up, and they're more likely to watch that video than go to your website and find you and read your blog. You're right there, you're at the top. You've answered their question and they're watching it. So don't think that it's
YouTube is great for that.
Yeah, it's not just like lost effort and you're just putting things into the void. You're not just putting things into the void. Things resurface. It lives where people will find it. So you just have to always be thinking that too. When you're thinking ROI, it's like give it 6 months, give it 12 months. It will come, but seriously, it takes consistent long efforts where you are being aware of your brand, you're trying to engage with your audience, you're putting yourself out there, you're being true to yourself. If you're not that same person across the board, people won't come to you, they won't trust you. even if your website, like I don't specialize in websites, but what I also see is people's websites, you don't know what they do. You don't know what they look like. It says, call us, reach out to us. Who am I talking to? You know, like who is going to pick up that phone? You have
Yeah. And
to,
there's a lot of marketing influencers like in the space, obviously in general. Like I'm Gary V's stuff is always in my face. I know I'm sure Haley, it's in yours
oh,
too. And when you guys watch his stuff, like he's cursing, he's yelling at you, he's saying offensive things. Like that's who he is. And it resonates with people because it's real and it's raw and it's him. And he's not being some fake version of himself, right? But he talks a lot about the human experience will be rare because of AI and people are wanting to clone and copy themselves and put out an AI video or like the agent you mentioned putting out all the text because they're scared of the camera and that's the real human stuff is going to continue to perform much better than the oversaturation of all this text and you know Canva template like crap that nobody's actually looking at.
well, and yeah, everything. I mean, when I say everything's an ad, everything's an ad. So you're watching videos, you're watching shorts, or you're watching Instagram Reels. Every third video is a sponsored ad. Right under it is a creator trying to sell you something. Right after that, it's someone trying to get sponsored by some other brand. And people are just kind of over it and losing their minds about it. I've seen so many, just the content that comes up on my feed is very like marketing forward. And it's like, here's why this brand failed. And here's why these content creators are failing. It's like you're selling yourself out. And the minute you do that, people no longer trust you or care about what you have to say. If you stay true to who you are, your main goal, your main message, they're more likely to come to you and really respond to the content you're putting out. And I think that's like hugely important when all of the AI videos are coming out and all of the like, you really don't have to put yourself in front of the camera. And that's kind of scary when you think about wanting people to trust you, but you can't put yourself in front of them where they will find you. So
Yeah. I love the videos where Gary Vee is like, you're scared of the camera? Get over it. Like, grow up. And he just like, he's literally yelling at you to tell you, like, nobody cares if you're scared. You have to do this if you own a business. And it's
yeah,
like, okay, Gary, sorry. Geez. Like, I feel like he's screaming at me most of the time when I watch his stuff, but it's true, right? If you want to build a brand and you don't want to have to buy internet leads and you want people to come to you because of who you are, what you do, and that they trust you, they have to have an opportunity to get to know you and be able to find you. And social media is the easiest way to do that.
well, and I think also insurance agents are actually some of the most like fun and spontaneous people I have met, which is kind of crazy to say when you're like, I would never do this with my insurance
Oh my
agent.
gosh, have you been to an insurance conference? Insurance
I
agents
know.
are crazy. Half the time I'm like, no, I have to go to bed. What is
I
wrong with you
know.
people? I'm not staying out till 2 a.m. They're so
And
much
that's
fun.
and I'm like, these people, there's such a missed opportunity when they're not showcasing how much fun they actually do have or the hobbies that they're engaged in outside of insurance. Like, if you want to be the person who's like, I work out, go to the gym, I read, this is what I do on my free time, I swim laps, you can be that person too. You can say, I'm an entrepreneur and my mindset is all about growth and being the best that you can be. But I also am an insurance agent. You know, you can kind of not like manipulate your brand, but you can move your brand around so it doesn't have to be I'm an insurance agent and then I do all these other things. You could do all these other things and also I'm an insurance agent. Just so you know that I'm a well-rounded person and I have other hobbies and interests. And then those people who have the same hobbies and interests can be like, I relate to you actually. Oh, well, I would have never known that I can relate to my insurance agent. Next time I go have a call with him, I have something to talk about. I can ask how the slopes were in Colorado or, how his
How
kids
their
are.
golf game was. Because I'm telling
Yeah.
you, all the insurance agents golf. Like I was always the exception to that. I don't like golf. I ride horses. But again, that's part of who I am, right? So I had a lot of clients where we insured horses or horse farms or barns, or they just liked horses and that attracted them. That was unique to me. So remember again, like if you're a big golfer and I don't like golf, that might not attract me in, but there's a lot of other golfers that you're going to attract in by being yourself. Can we talk a little bit about the different platforms, like some of the stuff that they should be doing on different platforms? Because there's a different audience based on where they are, right?
Yeah, and I know that's something we are really like gonna dive into with your content too, because we're putting kind of all videos out on all platforms. But I always like to bring like Duolingo as an example because they have such a different strategy, and it's something that you kind of like study as a marketer is on Facebook, because Duolingo is a company that teaches you a language that you don't know. So how they market to their audience is on Facebook, they tell these really heartwarming stories of this daughter learned how to speak Spanish so she could speak to her grandmother, and when they visited for Christmas, and it's really like tugging at the heartstrings. Well, their approach on TikTok and like YouTube and Instagram is they have a mascot that like runs around and like it's very made fun of, and the mascot's dating another mascot, and like the internet's kind of going crazy about it for a long time. It was very much so like Gen Z humor and appealed to a lot of them. They have a broader target audience. I mean, they want everyone to learn new languages and whatnot, but their strategy was completely different for both. So when we do like insurance agents that I work with that have like podcasts or, kind of outside of their agency, we work on their personal brand. It's the approach is that we're storytelling for their podcast on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok because that's where people are just consuming the content. Well, then we push their long form on LinkedIn and YouTube. So
Education.
yeah, it's you kind of have to think about those like education based platforms. I mean, a lot of what LinkedIn is just like people celebrating jobs or blog posts, or it's very much the social media that you scroll while you're working. But then
Professional. Yeah.
but then when they get home, it's okay, I'm gonna scroll Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, like all my friends' posts and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, depending on how much content you can put out, it's different for each. And the algorithms are different for each. Something that does really well on YouTube might not do so well on TikTok or Instagram. And I always think there's, whatever it can get any sort of viewership on is where you kind of want to be. Where if you're not specifically Duolingo with unlimited marketing resources and time, it's like, okay, well, this video should resonate with people on Facebook, but also there's no harm in putting it on YouTube where it'll live forever, where people can search it, that kind of thing. But yeah, there definitely is some strategy when you're like, okay, for LinkedIn, kind of the text needs to be longer because people are going to read this. For Instagram, the caption needs to be a little bit shorter. The hashtags maybe need to be different. It's just a lot of copywriting and editing and
Yeah, that's one thing that I like that I love that you do is I am so wordy if I'm copywriting for my own company. I want to over explain all the stuff that we do. And you're really great at like shrinking that down and making it clear and very easy for someone to absorb because you're not close to my product or my company like I am. And so that's also really helpful having somebody that can say, okay, this makes sense to me as an outside person versus
yeah,
like,
I don't work in it every day. So I have
yeah.
a little bit bird's eye view of how are people going to respond and understand this in a way where
Yeah.
I'm
So
copyright.
for insurance agents, when we were talking about like the marketing in general and like, the evergreen, something I think that people miss a little bit and that you can talk about is kind of the algorithm, like when the information will show up and how, like they may never ever see anybody's stuff for insurance agents. And then all of a sudden something happens in their life and they're looking up insurance. And now that content can show up in front of them. So can you talk a little bit about like the algorithm and some of the timing and how that content could actually like present itself in front of people who are actually now researching it?
Yeah. This happens a lot to, I think, some unsuspecting people sometimes where maybe a video is made that a lot of people, I mean, maybe it's a viral video that's made that now sparks a conversation and people are going looking for that information. And you kind of have to position your content if okay, well, if they ask this question, my video is going to come up. Or maybe it's like the caption or what I'm talking about, people are going to find that video because of it. The algorithm really plays on how much time your viewers are watching your video, if they're engaging, like how they touch the post. So for Instagram and Facebook, they push it out to basically like your followers first, your friends and family, the people who watch your page. And if none of them really touch it, the algorithm is like, okay, well, there's nothing to do with this post. We're going to kind of keep it steady here at 500, 600 views. Well, if people are engaging with it, or if they push it on the algorithm for like a day or two and it starts to gain traction, it'll start showing up more for people. And I mean, you can always kind of sidestep the algorithm by boosting your own posts. But if you want the natural engagement, it kind of just is that like trial and error and wait for things to get engagement, especially when it comes to I mean, YouTube is always changing their algorithm. So I stopped, like, I basically gave up trying to learn it because it changes every week. They're like, this will drive your views and this will drive your likes. And it's like, okay, well, last week it was different. So I don't know what we're talking about anymore. Um, for TikTok, and I'm just going to loop YouTube into it too, because they kind of have the same algorithm. It is, you get like points based system where if people like it, it's like 5 points into the algorithm. It'll boost it a little bit more. If people share it, it's like 10 points into the algorithm. It'll boost it a little bit more. I'm saying this pretty loosely because I read that article kind of a while ago when TikTok gave us they basically said, here's how our algorithm works. Like, do with this what you will. And it was based on like a point system. So yeah, every algorithm is kind of different. If you're going on LinkedIn, it's how can I get this on someone else's network so that all of their friends and followers can see it too, and that will boost my engagement. And kind of the same thing for Instagram. If you collab on a post and it puts it within the feed of other people, that will boost your engagement in the algorithm. So
So for insurance agents, could that be like collaborating with like roofers, like for like home repairs, right? So we work together on a claim, or like service providers or body shops, like where they have, you know, their own audience or following clientele that it taps into as well.
yeah, I mean, and that's one of the problems that I mean, we've talked about this too. Like when I will tag them, I will engage with them. And if they do nothing with it, it's like, okay, well, dang, we kind of had this opportunity. It would be boosted on mine and on yours. So I mean, I specifically think that collabing with people is the best way to get it on their networks, especially when it comes to some of my clients who we do a lot of podcasting, and not saying you need to, but if you do work with this roofer, tell the story on a video, ask him if it's okay. Like, hey, do you mind if we kind of tell this story together so it's social proof for both you and I? And then yeah, I feel like some of those situations you need approval from your client or whoever you're tagging and collaborating with. But yeah, I
But a
think,
lot of insurance agents, like the traditional way of marketing was relationship based, right? I mean, my agency, when I first started it, it was all mortgage lenders and real estate agents. That's what my mentor taught me. And I used to go to real estate offices and present in their weekly meetings. I would bring goodies. We would play games. Like I got to know the realtors. I learned that they had an issue with flood insurance in my area. And so I found a great flood program. I went and educated all the places. So to be able to say, hey, when I'm in your meeting, I want to do a video and like tag your real estate agency in it and say, hey, these real estate agents are learning more about home insurance to better help their clients. That is joint marketing. That's a good thing. They're tapping into your network, you're tapping into theirs. And it's a 5-second question. And most businesses aren't going to turn down marketing opportunities, right? So those are great. Huh?
especially if you do it for them.
Yeah.
If you already have the video edited, you have the content done. If you say, hey, can I tag you and collaborate with this post? Like, let me know. And they say yes. All they had to do was click accept on social media, and then boom, it's on both networks. They didn't have to put any work in. So yeah, I think it's really beneficial. And there are so many ways to tell those stories with having a little bit of discretion, but also being like, yeah, we do work together. You should reach out to us and talk to us, and we'll answer questions for you.
Well, and for insurance agents that write commercial insurance too, or even just if you write personal lines, think about this, you guys. Every business you walk into is really an opportunity to joint market. If you have a favorite bakery or a place you go, to get your hair cut, like do a video there. Take a picture with your stylist or the front of the business and pull that up and get that ready and tag that business. Because again, with insurance, just like the language when you were talking about,
Mhm.
almost anybody can be your client, right? You have a very wide net. Some agencies specialize, which is great too. But a lot of them, especially personal lines, you're casting a wide net of people. And every person that interacted with that business on social media, when you engage, they now get wrapped into your network. And so every time you're out shopping, you're out doing something, those are all opportunities to grab your phone, record a 3-minute video. If you work with somebody like Haley, which made my life easier because I'll tell you, for all of the AI, like Descript and video editing and like all of these, oh, we'll make your content for you. Trust me, I've played with them because I am obsessed with tech. They do not do what like Haley and her team do. It's not the same thing. And they still require a lot of time, like and editing and decision making. And they're a pain in the ass, to be honest. But maybe one day they'll be better. But right now I hate
Well,
them.
and that's
So
kind of the thing that's
record it and
happening
send it.
yeah, it's happening within the creative space too. A lot of the conversation is like, is AI coming for video editors, for graphic designers, for, all these people who are creatives and take a lot of pride in what they do? It's no, I don't see AI
Not
coming,
yet. It's
stepping
got a
in
long ways to
yet.
go. Like I've played with the tools. It's still very manual. It still makes a ton of mistakes.
Mhm. It
Um,
doesn't pull the best, it cuts you off. It doesn't pull what they think the best clip is. You're like, that has no relevance to, you know,
Yeah, no, I totally agree. But you can make all this content. Like one of the things Haley and I did because there was a this conversation we have about, like I make something and I have to send it to her. So if I record on my phone, so recently she had me get Riverside, and now Riverside's an app on my phone, and I can record on Riverside, so I can be anywhere, record and hit done. And Haley just logs into my Riverside and grabs it and does whatever she does with it, right? Because she knows my brand voice, she knows my approach, my clientele. And obviously, you can do this stuff too on your own, but most business owners are so busy that their marketing isn't consistent because of that, right? Like you might have time this week, but now you don't have time for 2 or 3 weeks. So it's in and out. The only way I was ever going to be consistent with marketing is having somebody to hand it to. I can make the content, I can spend the 5 minutes or the hour recording, once a month or whatever, but I don't have time to sit down and edit. I don't have the skills. I don't have the patience for it. There's just no way.
well, and what's great is like you can record a video from 2 weeks ago, and we have enough content where I can think, okay, where does this actually fit within the month? How much content do we have? What do we need to kind of I can look at it as a whole and say, we are going to be able to post every single day without having to be like, okay, Mariah, please record something for tomorrow. Like we have to edit it within 5 hours and get it up. There's a little bit of
Not
ease.
to mention you have all my raw footage, right? So this is the other thing, guys, is like there's stuff that I recorded like a year ago, 2 years ago. We did a boot camp that Haley will go pull clips from, like from 2 years ago. So when you have somebody that you're working with, they have your database and can continue to reuse material as well.
Yeah, I know. That's something that I've done in the past too, but just other people where I say, okay, if we're gonna come in and record, I'm gonna give you 90 reels, you do with what you will with them. And then they'll be like, oh, perfect. And that was maybe a year and a half ago. They're still pushing out the same reels that I sent them and
Yeah.
that we worked on because it kind of doesn't, it's all evergreen, guys. It doesn't matter.
So can we talk about some of the like overcoming some of the barriers like with your clients? So when you start working with somebody, what has helped them either like see results or kind of get to that consistent place where they're understanding social media a little bit better? Like how do you kind of overcome some of that?
Yeah. That is such a good and interesting question. A lot of the people I work with and have hired me have put a lot of faith in me and trust in me and have really given me the opportunity to learn and grow and say, okay, well, if that didn't work, let's try something new, let's try again. I know I have to really sell them on the idea of like it will come. We just need to really work on this and try, and you need to be able to trust me for the next 6 to 12 months, because unfortunately, like, that's what it's going to take.
You're not gonna go viral on the second day. Come
I
on,
know. Well,
Haley.
and what I see a lot is there's people who are like, you're guaranteed 2 million views. And if you don't get them, you don't pay. And I'm like, that is not a strategy. That is like, I don't know. It's
It's a
just,
gimmick. It's a marketing gimmick.
yeah, it's a gimmick. It's not a strategy. You're just saying, you'll get this. It doesn't matter how we'll get it. And then you pay them. And I don't know. The barriers that I have to talk to agents about is, listen, I know that this is new to you or that you've been doing this for a long time, but I would love to come in and work with you and say, hey, these are the things I need from you. I want to really dive into this. And you really just have to get over the fear of being embarrassed or being too personal or cringy, or you have to get out of your own head, because you're going to get either negative feedback regardless. People are going to love it, they're going to hate it, but at least you're putting yourself out there. I mean, there is so much that you can do with social media that you really have to kind of just get out of your own head and say. So that's like the biggest thing I run into with people who have never done it before. Either they love content creation and they love being in front of the camera and they're very comfortable with talking, or I have to really coach them, give them scripts and say, get out of your head, this is going to work and you need to trust, and we're going to build this from the ground up, but it's going to take time and then you'll see it later. You know, we've been talking about Gary Vee. Gary Vee, he didn't have a team of editors or a polished brand that had specific colors for his reels and was edited all the same. You start with kind of nothing and then you work your way up to it, but at least he was doing it. And you don't remember the first 10 pieces of content he ever put out. He is huge now, so you really have to look at the opportunity and, yeah, get out of your own
You
head.
also have to let it kind of grow too, right? I mean, when we started working together, like you mentioned, trust and things like that, I was like, you would send me everything for approval. I didn't let you post anything without me approving it, which was so ridiculous, right? That's that type A over controlling business owner that most of us are. And a lot of us are. It's very common for entrepreneurs. And today, like, I probably don't even see half, maybe I don't even probably see a quarter of the content you put out for our business, because yeah, I'm making it and things like that, but I'm not approving it. I'm not reviewing it. Like, it works. It's on brand. We've built that trust in that time, and you know what to put out for us. And so it really is like my marketing as a client of yours, like, happens on autopilot for me. I might record things and we meet and talk about messaging and what's going on with the industry or the company or whatever. For those of you who are wondering how much time this is really taking you, I maybe spend an hour a week. Like, I meet with Haley for 30 minutes and then I might spend 30 minutes like randomly throughout the week, like just recording snips or whatever. And then she does everything else. So if you're like, gosh, how could I possibly tackle social media? I know I need to, I want to do it. It makes sense, but I have no idea how to do that. Like, that's why you get partners, like, Plismal Media, to be able to help you with stuff like this, because you're either going to do it and you're going to feel the lift, or you're going to kind of continue in your very manual type of marketing. And it is that immersion. We get people all the time, literally I could play you recorded videos of insurance agents who say to me, I've been watching you for years. And I'm like, I have no idea who this person is. They've never engaged in my social media. I've never talked to them before. I had one guy who did this on a meeting. He was like, I'm the creepy guy who I watched through he literally did this. And I was like, okay,
Okay, cool. I'm really glad that
nice. I don't know if I should be creeped out or if I am flattered, but it was the funniest conversation. But that's so true. People are watching, and then something's going to happen in their life where they're going to need somebody, and they're going to think, oh my gosh, that guy who golfs, or that lady who is a big swimmer and I'm a swimmer and I want to talk to her because now I need insurance. A lot of it is that immersion, just being in front of your client and having the right time. And if they can't find you and they don't know who you are literally making it harder to run your business.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. And I mean, this isn't an approach I take with everybody, but one of the client based out of Chicago, I was just telling you about this. One of his videos has just gone like semi-viral, getting like thousands of views. because we are kind of, because he's based in Chicago, there's all of this, we're leveraging living in Chicago as a way to get people to view his stuff. So for every third post, we talk about something in Chicago to drive the engagement up. And then we go back to like, okay, it's winter. How does that affect your insurance? And then it's like, what's
Oh,
the place to go in Chicago? So it really drives up his engagement because people get so fired up in the comments when you make one slight comment about it being the Willis Tower, not the Sears Tower. And that's what,
well, like controversy to
yes,
get
that
an
like
engagement.
slight controversy drove up his engagement. And I had to check in with him and be like, are you okay? That wasn't the
You're
intention.
gonna get the love and the hate, right?
Yeah. And I mean, that happens just kind of across the board. Once in a while, it'll happen to you where something goes viral and people are fighting about it in the comments, or you'll get a hate comment. That one-off person doesn't actually know who you are, and they were never going to like you anyway. They were never going to buy from you. They're a troll on the internet, and you have to just be like, okay, at
A
least
little
my
bit of a thick
kidding.
skin, right? Like you have to
Yeah.
be able to like, that's actually a good point. Like I can't say that I even really read the comments, like especially on our business
Yeah.
pages. Like I don't really read the comments. So if somebody was ripping me a new one, I wouldn't even know.
I would know. I would
You
say,
would know.
I'd be like, we're getting lots of hate for this, but I mean, it's all just about the
But it's
internet
all
is so bad.
exposure, right? Like there's a
Yeah.
literally and very old phrase that says no press is bad press, right? It's exposure because people know who you are. So we're getting down to the last few minutes of our time together, and I want to be able to let the people that are here ask questions. So if you guys have any questions about platforms, about what you should do, shouldn't do, what maybe things you've seen, misconception, like whatever it is that you want to ask, please go ahead and open up the chat and type in your question. I've already had a few people ask like if this will be recorded. Yes, we post all of our webinars on our YouTube channel, so you can watch the recording, and if you're watching it, this is where it's at. After, of course, Haley edits it for us.
Yeah, I'm gonna edit the webinar, then get it good to go live.
Yeah. But if you guys have questions on like how to get started, we can also talk about tools. So for some of you, you may not be ready to hire, a marketing team that can help with this. And I will be totally honest, you guys, most of the time, people think it's way more expensive than it is to have somebody help you with this stuff. So first of all, it's very affordable for a business. And I'll leave you to talk to Haley if you want about those types of things. You can reach out to her. But if you're wanting to do this on your own, if you're wanting to get started, Haley, what would you recommend? How should they start? What are some tools that they could use as a business owner?
As a business owner, I would first start by just evaluating what you're currently doing and look over, if you are putting out social media posts, I want you to really take a look at your audience, your engagement, how many followers you have, and what you've put out about yourself. I think the first step is like reflection on what you've done, and then okay, how do we move to the next step? And that's probably just, what are you, I mean, 2026 is right around the corner. You can make this a goal for next year. Next month, I want to put out 5 videos of me talking about this, and start small. If you've done nothing, start very small. I'm sorry, what was the second part?
So, like where to start? What tools can they use? Where should they
Oh,
start if they want to
yes.
get going
Okay.
with social media on their own?
If you want to do social media without on your own without buying anything, you can use the Meta Business Suite to push out videos on Instagram and Facebook. I would suggest all of those social media apps are free. So get on TikTok, get on YouTube, start a channel, and really look at kind of what's been going on in your space, in your area. What are the people on Facebook posting in your community? What are they talking about? Maybe start just by commenting or making people aware. It doesn't have to be this 0 to 100 situation where you're like, okay, I'm going to put out 3 videos every single day. You can start very small, put yourself in front of the camera, try for like 5 times next month, and create conversation. And it doesn't necessarily even have to be about your insurance agency, but it should be like, I'm going to educate people on these 3 topics. I'm going to make a video about one of my favorite hobbies, and I'm going to make a video about my community and the places I frequent. You can start very minimal and just evaluate where you're at, evaluate where you want to be and the community you want to build, and take the steps to get there. And you don't need the fancy editor. You don't need the fancy, you can edit in the app. If you want to post on Instagram, you can edit, put captions on it, and send it out on its way. You don't need the big production, but you need to start somewhere, and then you can build to either that big production, or you can reach out and I can look over your socials too. I'm always like, I can take a look at what you're doing, but I might be not very nice about it. And I might be like, you got to fix this about your strategy.
What about like ideas? What are some one of the things that you and I've talked about is like definitely like you mentioned what's being talked about in your area or what's going viral now. So for example, one of the things I see all the time on social media now is these doctors who are advertising their practices by saying, I'm a functional medicine doctor, and here is 5 things I would never eat or whatever, right? And they're giving advice. So they're kind of establishing themselves as that professional, right? This is what I do. So you've got that credibility. And then here's some things that I wouldn't do. So they're not saying like, I'm a doctor and here's the surgeries I perform, or like, here's the types of clients I see, but they're saying, here's something as a professional I wouldn't do. So, like, I'm just using this as an example, but think about if you're trying to get started in social media, like what ideas are already there that other people are using that you can pivot into your industry. So you don't even necessarily have to be super creative. Like, what are you absorbing that you could spin? Like, if you used kind of, go ahead.
Yeah, I would say you could always do some form of reaction content. So something that could like position you as that professional would be if a video is going super viral of this lady in a, those like car accident videos always go viral like once a month, where someone has backed up into the car behind them to get the insurance from them. Stitch that video, react to it, say, this is how this affects that person's insurance and that person's insurance. And people love that information, especially if you can kind of hook them in with that original video, stitch it, and then say, okay, I'm a professional and let me tell you what's going on here. Other just like content ideas that you can get out there, anything that you're reading, anything that you're doing to improve, anything that does give you that kind of voice of, I know what I'm talking about. I know what this is, why you should trust me. I'm constantly working in my business. I'm constantly talking to my clients and my staff and my team. Building that kind of like motivational content, community content where you're like, hey, my agency is actually going to support this fundraiser that's happening at the school next door. Content like that too, just kind of positioning yourself as a pillar in the community, putting yourself as the professional. And yeah, I think reaction content is like kind of the best and first way that people can just like get started without having to think, oh, this video is viral at the moment, let me kind of hop on this trend. And that you don't have to know every single trend that comes around. You just see it on your own socials, depending on what your algorithms are. If your algorithm is like completely opposite than what I see, but I see that, and I think it's just maybe because I'm in the insurance space, whatnot. But I would say start by just kind of defining that the content that you're going to make. I'm going to be really motivational. I'm going to position myself as the professional, and I'm going to be a pillar in my community. And those ideas will kind of just flow. Think about it like a tree. If those 3 things are your trunk, where can you branch off of and say, oh, well, actually, I'm reading this book and my kids are in this at the school. Who's going to be there? Do you guys want to, lifestyle relatability kind of thing, and that'll draw people in. So
you mean every video shouldn't be, this is how your comprehensive works, this is how collision works, this is why you need general liability? We shouldn't do that as insurance agents.
I mean, people just probably, you can definitely take that approach, but people probably are just
dry.
I'm not, unless they're seeking that because it's happening to them, they aren't gonna probably watch that video to fruition unless you're saying kind of eye catching them with like, here are 3 things that you didn't know about X, Y, and Z. And then they'll like, oh, well, maybe I didn't know that. I should maybe check with my insurance agent.
Yeah.
But if you're sitting there and being like, here's why you need this insurance and why you should buy it from us, it comes across a little too salesy and a little too, you're kind of not trying to educate me. You're just kind of trying to promote your stuff. So you kind of have to walk that fine line of what's going to be promotional and what's going to be, I'm educating you, I'm trying to help you, and maybe make those videos every third or fourth.
Yeah. That makes sense. Well, we don't have any questions in the chat right now, so I think you just must have answered everybody's questions about social media.
Thanks.
Thank you for so much for covering all these broad topics about, content ideas, recording, consistencies, messaging, brand. Gosh, we went through different platforms. Like we covered a lot of ground in this call. How can people reach you if they do want your help?
You can reach out to my email, which is Haley, Haley, at plimsollmedia.com, Plimsoll. I know. Or you can DM me on Instagram. My handle is plimsollmedia. You can always reach out on my website, which I'm updating. So that could be a little bit funky if it does or does not go through. But yeah, DM, email, website, all of those things I will answer on. So
yeah. And for those of you that are here live, I'm not going to lie. There's a little bit of me that wants to email you in 30 days and find out how many of you guys started on your social media after this webinar. Because since you registered, I've got your email. So I might email you and ask, hey, did you jump on your social media? The recording will be on our YouTube channel, and Haley just popped her email into the chat for those of you that are here right now on the website. So website Plimsoll Media, Plimsoll media.com. And her clients are insurance agents. That's what she does. So she knows your industry, like we talked about the history there, of course, as well. And at the end of the day, trust starts with people. It can be transferred to a brand, but it's not going to start with your logo. It's going to start with you. And that's how you're going to start establishing that trust and getting people to come to you. So my business coach told me, I had told him, I don't want to be the front of anything. I never wanted to be all over social media, and I never wanted to speak on stage. That was terrifying in the beginning. And he was like, well, then get into a different business or something, because that's how it is in today's world. If you are a small business owner and you want people to trust you and come to you, you are the face of the company. So I love that you were like, just get over it. That's how it is. Yeah. Otherwise, make a different decision or put someone else in the front of the company. But if you want that attraction marketing, it's got to be you, and you can do it.
It's tough love, but yeah, you got to do it.
You can totally do it. It just, everybody starts somewhere, and we all feel like idiots in the beginning. So you're in good company.
Yep.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much, Haley, for your time. I really appreciate you.
Appreciate you. Oh, someone said, did I miss the email? It's the top one.
Oh, it's because you sent it to the panelists. So we'll stay here. Yeah, we're good. If there's anyone here still needs it, let me send it to everybody.
Here.
Yeah, you're good. We still have got a little bit more time for those of you that are here live.
Okay, I just added.
There we go.
There we go.
Anybody else that's still here live for the webinar, if you do have any last minute questions or want to chat, like go ahead and let us know. And we'll do that as well. I was surprised we didn't have more questions. I feel like I always have a million questions for you. Every call, I'm like, what about this? What about that?
What about these things?
I know.
Well, yeah, otherwise, if you guys check out Accelerated Automation, the YouTube, this will be live on YouTube. Yeah. I need about 4 days to edit this, and we'll be good to go, and it'll be
Yep. It's always like about a weekish, like after the recording. Okay. So I think everybody that's here live is good. I don't see anybody else asking for stuff. Thanks, Haley. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, Mariah.
Bye.
Bye.